Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you another update video. This one is going to be about the Back in Black update that was released on the 22nd of November, which was a few days ago from when I'm recording this. So similar to what I did with the Division Bell, I'm just going to quickly go over what was added in the patch. It was mainly a balance patch as well as introducing the unit pack. So I'll look into the new units, I'll look into the balancing and give my sort of discussion on those and what I think in general. So first of all, we have the units that have been added. 6 new units been added to the game, which is really cool. And we first of all have the Volunteers. Now these are like your French resistance fighters really, and they're available in Phase C. They come in packs of 8, which is quite significant. They are 15 points and they have a total of 20 HE, which they can use at 100 meter range. Now in general, I don't see many people bringing these in their second armored divisions, just because they are a Phase C unit for starters, and also they're kind of very situational. They require you to be fighting in close quarters because you're not going to be wanting to use their Kar 98s to engage at long range. They only have 2 HE past 100 meter range, which is abysmal. But at close range, they absolutely annihilate the enemy. So you're going to have to be looking for those engagements in order to make the best out of them. And generally I would suggest turning off the Kar 98 until you get into the 100 meter range of combat. So yeah, really nice unit, like really good unit, honestly, just kind of very situational. One that's less situational, however, is the Ox and Bucks. Now this is the 6th Airborne edition. We have a 2-star veteran unit that is basically the same as the Airborne Bren group you could get, but you're now adding a Piat. Now you are sacrificing availability in that the Ox and Bucks are like 3 per card instead of 4 per card like the Airborne Bren group, but in general a very versatile unit. Can be good at close range with its 8 AP or HE, sorry, and at long range it's got 5 HE. And then it has the Piat as well. So yeah, an all-round very nice unit. Will be 3-star with a command. So fantastic stuff. Good addition to the 6th Airborne. 6th Airborne been getting some pretty nice buffs recently, especially with the addition of the 2-star AT guns that were added in one of the previous patches. Now when it comes down to vehicles, we've got the new Sherman IC Firefly, which has been added to the 1st Panzerner. This gives some serious punching power to the 1st Panzerner in Phase B. Generally what could happen is Panzer IVs could overrun the 1st Panzerner quite significantly in Phase B. However, this no longer happens because if you bring in the Firefly IC, you're going to be punching back from a distance. 1,200 meter range with the 16 AP power gun, definitely very strong. The only thing that makes this really weaker than the upgraded Firefly, the 5C, is that it has 10 front armor instead of 11, and it also is slower in general. So just like rolls slower. So I think it's just I think it's actually the 1C, not the IC, but there we go. So yeah, cool vehicle added to the 1st Panzerner, makes their Phase B a lot stronger in my opinion. Then we have the 10.5 centimeter LEFH 18 Alpha Lorraine, which has, I think, been renamed in the game to the Panzer Lorraine 105mm, which is basically a variant of the Lorraine that has the 105mm gun, 15 HE and smoke rounds, which is pretty damn awesome, 2,400 meter range. Going to be a very nice addition to the 21st Panzer. Then we have the 716th Infantry receiving the LEFH 18M, which is an artillery gun, and that provides 15 HE and smoke rounds from 2,400 meter range for 110 points. Really gives some serious counter battery to the 716th, which is a fantastic addition because generally, what happens when you play the 716th, if your opponent invests in artillery, you get countered very easily. But if you have now the counter artillery to fire back, you know, that works out quite well. You're able to suppress the enemy's counter to your units, which is good. And it stops you having to be so risky with the off map and trying to get that into range of the 25 pounders to take them out instead. So yeah, a very, very good addition. Maybe helps balance the division a little more as well. Finally, we have the F6C, which is a recon plane for the 3rd Armoured. It's actually a Mustang. Instead of having 6 machine guns, it has the 450 cals, like instead of the 6, which basically means a bit less HE, but same speed, same maneuverability. Basically a Mustang with a little bit less firepower and recon capability. Is more expensive, I believe. Actually, I think they're the same price. Yeah, the same price, 150 points. Less availability per card though. But they do come with the extra veterancy, so there is kind of a bit of a trade-off there. You're kind of trading like availability for more veterancy and the recon capability as well. Now, generally, the way that I play a lot of my American Armored decks is I don't rely so much on the Air Force. I just need stuff to finish off things that I'm damaging a lot with AA. So that's where they would come in very handy, and these are very nice replacements for me for the normal Mustangs. So I have the F6Cs actually added to my division now. So that's a good look at the 6 new units available in the Back in Black update, and hopefully that gives you a little overview of what they're there for, how you can use them, whether or not I recommend them in the divisions, and yeah. There's some general information. Now let's go back to like the patch notes in general. We have the breakthrough scenarios being updated a little. We have Show and Colin Bell now playable in 2v2, which is awesome. You can get a couple mates and do like some co-op games or whatever, and that should be fun. They fixed a bug preventing saves. It's nothing too important there. In games versus AI, destruction points to reach by the defenders have been changed to fit AI level. So basically it gets harder, I'm assuming, the higher the level of the AI. Improved AI in breakthrough games now has more complex attacking or defending behavior, which is good for people who like to play against AI in general as opposed to other players. Breakthrough balancing moved long range artillery except mortars and MRS from phase A to phase B for the attacker, which is really good. Existing player decks are still valid but will be automatically modified. This is nice because generally what people would do is bring in like the heavy artillery right at the start and just smash to pieces your AT and other emplaced units early on, and it was just a nightmare to deal with. So that's good, gives a little bit of a buff to the defender. I'm not entirely sure if it will stop like Zerg rushes. Because you have so many points at the start, it's very easy for like an attacker, for example, to just put all of their units onto one road and just like slam down the middle. Obviously, things like artillery from the defender side and maybe defending bombers and stuff could stop that from happening. But in general, like those Zerg rushes can really do a lot of damage, and they do happen still. So it would be interesting to see what they do to combat that in the future. But either way, improvements, loading a quick save now displays a save menu, and in the battle groups list, a filter allows player to display only classic or breakthrough decks, which is just a nice little quality of life add to the game there. Fixes effects quality is now correctly set to on insane graphics preset. Fix some lag and speed problems while observing 10 versus 10 games. Fix rare desynchronizations and fix some red crashes. So always nice to see some fixes there, helps out a lot of people. Unit balancing, we have unified Sherman gun accuracy and AP. So all Shermans now have 5 accuracy and 11 AP, which is actually a massive buff to the Shermans in general. Certain divisions are worse off because, as you can see here, like the 2nd Infantry Division, the Sherman DD got the extra accuracy from its accuracy being increased, however got its XP reduced, which in general is worse than having the accuracy increased, so little nerf there to the 2nd Infantry Shermans. But across the board, having 5 accuracy and 11 AP is very nice indeed. They've renamed all the allied Firefly by Firefly 5C because of the new Polish Firefly 1C. They've added packs of 6 veteran Sherman 75s in Phase C and the 3rd Armoured, however I don't think that they're going to be used too much. The 4th Armoured Division balance since changes is quite welcome, bringing up the price from 110 or 100 to 110 for the Hellcats. Abrams being increased from 130 to 145, which is actually quite a dramatic increase, but will definitely mean that a lot less people bring it in at the start. Abrams will probably come out, towards the later phases of Phase A. And then we have the B-26B Marauder also increasing in price. Very, very overused aircraft at the moment, I guess. But for good reason, since it does pin down AT guns relatively quickly. I personally don't bring it in too often, but a lot of people rate them very highly, and I know why, but it's just I don't really play around it too much. 2nd Infantry Division, I already mentioned that. Guards Armoured, increased Tempest Fighters XP by 1 step, which means they might actually shoot stuff down now, rather than fly past it. And we see the 1st SSB, increased Sherman double D price from 110 to 125. Now, I see why they did this, because it was quite obnoxious when you played around the Shermans a lot with the SSB. The Shermans were so cheap that they were extremely cost efficient, and increasing their price, that may be a little bit too much of a nerf. Maybe 120 points would have been more suitable, but I still agree with that had to kind of happen. Now with the 21st Panzer, there has been quite a few things sort of switched around here. We can see that the Panzer H39 was moved to a support tab unit. It now has like 12 AP and a certain amount of HE, and works as like a the direct fire unit there, kind of like a Stör, but does have the AP value. Now the velocity of the shell is quite slow, so it can kind of be dodged, I guess. But in general, still has punching power. Frontal armor was increased for it, and it was replaced by the 105mm Lorraine in its role. So that's the new unit. Brumbar was reduced frontal armor from 14 to 12, and we saw the gun accuracy be decreased from 5 to 3. They've reduced the gun power as well to match other 150mm guns. But this is all because you can now get Brumbars in Phase A. And this is really exciting because the Brumbar wasn't actually used too much before. But now I kind of feel like we're going to see them pop out in Phase A quite a lot for the 21st Panzer now. So yeah, definitely want to try that out in future. Now finally, for the 16th Luftwaffe, we have reduced 88mm flak veterancy by 1 step in Phase A, which makes sense. You don't want those 88s to be snipers in Phase A. That was kind of a bit silly, but I guess it does leave the 16th Luftwaffe quite vulnerable. And they've regrouped the Befehlsstugs into a single pack of 2 in Phase C, which is a nice change. Gives you a little bit more availability for those of you who only brought 1 Befehlsstug before, which was like me. And that's going to be pretty much it for the Back in Black update. Very, very nice update indeed. Always good to see new free units added to the game. Of course, I think a lot of them we're going to be seeing. Maybe not the volunteers so much, but the rest of them definitely going to be coming out to play. Especially the F6C. We're going to be seeing the LEFH from the 716th because it's going to be, like I said, the main counter to enemy artillery. Sherman Firefly in Phase B for the 1st Panzer makes them very strong. 21st Panzer, maybe not the Lorraine so much, but the Ochsenbucks definitely. I've already replaced my Bren group with Ochsenbucks. Got to play around with the availability a bit, but I don't know, we'll see what happens. So that's pretty much the Back in Black update. The other thing I wanted to quickly look over before I end the video is the Ace of Spades update. I kind of overlooked this on the channel, but this was sort of adding the breakthrough. They also added the 2 new aces, which was awesome for the 3rd Armoured and the 91st Luftlander. So if you guys didn't know about that, you can go back into your divisions and change it out. There's also a bunch of fixes that came in here as well, but the main update for this one was the breakthrough stuff, and it's just I just think it's really nice of Eugen and stuff to continue to support the game and bring out free content. So yeah, hopefully you tried out the breakthrough. I know a lot of people rate it very highly because it introduces like proper sort of tactics, and I personally very much enjoy it. I would just like to see obviously more 2 versus 2 versions, maybe even 3 versus 3 versions, and make sure it's balanced. You know, it's going to take a little while, I think, to balance it all out properly, but it's definitely something that obviously Eugen's going to work on and make sure is better to play as the game moves on in its life cycle. So yeah, good stuff. Really am pleased with the Back in Black update. I think it's going to balance out some of the divisions quite nicely. I think the 4th Armoured will still need a bit more of a nerf in certain areas, but other than that, we're starting to get to a point where the new divisions are fitting in quite nicely. But that's all for now, guys. Hopefully you have found this video useful, or enjoyed it in general. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.